Travis went good, so now we can get to the weather girl forecasting for Thursday, the start of the Exodus for Mormons. And I've already covered this numerous times, but again, we get to repeat it because there's further confirmation of it. Mormons don't believe, so they don't see it. They deny and lie. Anarchy, Mormonism. So, last night, after I did my special video about again, further signs, as if you're not going to believe your scripture. Oh, man, I am getting attacked. Son of a...
From New York to Ohio, to Missouri, to Illinois, and finally to lead the pioneer exodus to the Intermountain West. Though only temporary, when still in force, these commandments were given to be obeyed. Some permanent commandments have taken considerable time to be generally observed. For example, President Lorenzo Snow's famous sermon on the law of tithing emphasized a commandment given earlier, but not yet generally observed by church members.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. After last night's further sign in the heavens about the latter days with the 80,000-year-old prophecy, I recognized that the Mormon YouTube employee began working as I got cyber attacked during my journal vlogs. And so, this morning he was not working, as it's now shift change, and sure enough, the first less than a minute video clip for this video, I'm cyber attacked. So expect more, because shift change has occurred. And so we've got another weather sign on Earth, and you don't believe me, and so I'll refer to Oakes in his second coming talk, in which he's quoted from the scripture that you don't believe in when I read it to you, that signs in the heavens and signs on earth are the warning from God to you of his coming. And Nelson has already revealed himself as a false prophet, because he says it was supposed to be Saturday, and Saturday came and went. I guess you have to have spiritual eyes to see Jesus, to see that the government has been handed over to Jesus and Jesus is in charge, so there's no election. So the voting ballots that we're getting in the mail here in Utah today, we don't need to worry about. We can just throw them away. If you're a Democrat, yes. Otherwise, Senator Lee said to still vote for Trump. Oh my God. I'm saying Avraham Gileadi got rejected on another footnote here in Deuteronomy. So, there's a weather report coming on. There's rain, the windows of heaven, as Oakes has turned the BYU production of Windows of Heaven into literal church history. You better believe them. They've been leaked. They want you to believe and accept the church narrative that they tell you, whether it's scripture interpretation or church history. You have to believe them. Quit screwing things up and complaining about scientific evidence and and word meanings. Just believe, have faith, trust them. And so, yeah, lots of chaos and robbing of God as a result with Section 119. So first we need to go over the bigger context. So we have to go over the law of the Jews concerning those who bear false witness, who lie, claiming they have seen the consequences and they know the consequences are good or bad, when all they have is a spiritual witness feeling. Verse 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin. In any sin that he sinneth, at the mouth of 2 witnesses or the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. Any of that sounding familiar? And so again, this applies to the woman apparently caught in the act of adultery. Was it a show? Because there was a whole bunch of people that dragged her into Jesus and say, "We caught her. Judge her. Throw stones." And then at the end, they were all false witnesses. So thus, 16. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, thou shalt not lie. Then both the men between whom the controversy is, dun, 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 shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges. Oh, we probably 1917. I'm curious as to whether it's Adonai. Oops. Nope, it is Yahweh. Not Yahweh Elohim, just Yahweh. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall that ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. You understand that? You've got a false witness, a beam and a motor, accusing somebody of sin or crime, and he's lying. He's actually the one with the greater sin or crime. And this is why the law is designed this way. Because somebody who makes a false accusation is guilty of the crime himself, and thus needs to be punished as if they were accused. That's why they wrote this. They're kind of smart this way. That's why you can't be a hasty judge or a liar, pants on fire. You have to judge righteously. Somebody has to take away your agency of life, liberty, or property. A crime. Otherwise, you are trying to take away their life, liberty, and property with the false accusation. See how that automatically works? False accusers are the criminals. Automatically, instantly. You don't have freedom of speech to lie, because you're taking away somebody else's freedom of speech, taking away others' rights to life, liberty, or property in your lies. And so any government that fails to prosecute liars and people who are making false accusations, our government ain't going to last too much longer. Most likely in a coming election, they would fall. Hypothetically, of course. Okay? Malachi chapter 3. Will a man rob God? I'm seeing above, in verse 5, I will come near to you to judgment. Oh, he got me. As is his pattern, I'm likely to get attacked one more time here. Verse 5, and I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against the false swearers. A little different. Just slightly. Because you are under oath in court, and thus swear an oath is different from testifying of what you witnessed. But you still have to first swear an oath of what you have physically witnessed. So they're related, but... And against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts. And so then we get into, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. Notice how they're separated? Offerings are the temple offerings. Tithing is verse 10. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. For what? The widow and the fatherless, the poor. Because there's no husband to care for the woman anymore because of the laws of the land, and there are no fathers to care for the children. Thus, the church is designed to step in. And the church loves to quote the Doctrine and Covenants passage and extend it beyond your immediate family. To say, well, don't you have some third cousin, second removed? Go ask them. Stay away from us. Leave us alone. We've got a government to coup. And so this storehouse is specifically designed to take care of the needs of food and water for the widow and the fatherless and the poor. It's welfare square, run by bishops. And then it goes on to talk about, if you are faithful in paying a tithing, I will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. What is the blessing? Prosperity. Water for the crops. Well, is that some magical power? No. Fruit and animals have seed. And plant seed gets planted in the ground. Animal seed, or like human seed, they get planted in the female of the particular species. Seed, egg, baby. Seed, ground, fruit. And they have more fruit. When you go through the same process, they have more fruit. Anybody familiar with America's Dust Bowl era? Anybody know what happened to that? Yeah, well, America was founded and we began colonizing the West, and the prairie lands were used for agriculture. And the big corporation farmers went in and plowed up the whole ground. And then they started realizing that the soil wasn't replenishing itself. They were doing a scorched earth farming without scorching the earth to replenish the soil. And as a result, the crops failed, and it became a desert wasteland of dust storms, dust bowl. And so they eventually figured out that ginseng could be planted and replenish the soil, and have since restored the land. But with all of the leveling out of the ground, it turned it into Tornado Alley. And so, yes, this year was pretty bad for tornadoes because of this. So we still haven't learned our lesson. And so there's a direct correlation with the need to provide plant life to maintain a weather system in which humans can live. And this is what's being referred to here, is that if you have the rich who are refusing to give to the poor, they get rich by doing the scorched earth farming. And the Middle East is a perfect example. It used to be a lush Levant. It used to be lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Just forested. But over the centuries, when man had spread out and then the Syrians warring and conquering, it all got chopped down and not replaced. And now pretty much the Middle East is desert like Utah. And it's pretty sad because the cedars of Lebanon were quite majestic plants, similar to the redwoods, the oak trees, with their sturdiness and their height. And so this is part of it. This is the physical part of it. That the poor receive the food and the animals, then they take the seeds and they become farmers and herdsmen, so that they can then take that to market, and then pretty soon everybody is contributing to the economy and nobody is poor anymore, and all is well in Zion. You know, keeping everything recycled so that you're not demolishing the earth, you're not destroying it, you're replacing what you take, and thus the windows of heaven, water. And so this is also Revelation, and the church refers to that as well, that when you are righteous and you're helping those in Zion, you get inspired because you're thinking of a pure heart, desiring to help other people and prosper other people in Zion. This is the economy for Zion. That when you are not strapped down to the rich who are withholding their substance from the poor, everybody is equal and free. They are able to get inspiration as to how to make Zion prosper and beautified. And so when we get to the Book of Mormon, 2 Nephi chapter 26, verse 29, he commandeth that there shall be no priestcrafts. This is where religious leaders hoard money to become filthy rich and don't take care of their people who are poor. You know, the Zoramites are the same situation. After building the buildings, the construction workers were unemployed. They built the synagogue, and now, because they're poor, they're now considered the other, and they're banished from their synagogue and banished from the community because they're not contributing. They were withholding the fruits and the animals from the poor so that they can become wealthy as well, because that encroaches on their profit margin. Can't have competition. It's got to be a monopoly. And so here the priests are not only doing this with religion, robbing God, they are also contributing to the destruction of the earth through this process. The King Noah syndrome, where he thinks he's the ruler and so he doesn't have to do any labor, everybody should work for him. And that was started by King Sargon of Old Assyria. He began that militant kingship where he went and conquered other people and subjected them to his bondage to pay tribute to him. And the Egyptian practice was different. It wasn't militant, but if there was an insurrection and people refusing to give to the storehouse for the poor, then yeah, Pharaoh was required to go in and quell the rebellion and remove the tributary king and put another one on who would be for the welfare of Heliopolis or Karnak, depending on where the capital got moved. And so love is the one and only commandment. And the first great commandment is sexual love. You didn't know that? Oh my God, no Christian knows this, and they believe the Bible to be true and the Word of God. And yet they're anti-sex. I saw a YouTube video today where a guy was posting a video talking about forbidden love. I have no idea if it's adultery or anything like that, but you know, just a guy liking a girl, and they both like each other, and desire to have sex. Yeah, that's the first great commandment. Why are you forbidding that? Why are you trying to punish people for that? Leave them alone. You don't gotta separate them. You gotta keep them separated. No, you don't. Just make sure that, you know, they know the consequences. You know, the seed, egg, baby part. Teach them about thorny soil and rocky soil and wayside soil. Teach them sex ed. Really goes a long way. But yeah, there's too much evil in the world who want to miseducate people and misinform people and cause divisions and hurt people and get others to hurt other people and laugh and go, ah ha ha. Right, Nelson? And so, thus, love prevents others in Zion from perishing. You are contributing to the storehouse in Zion. And you're not expecting anything in return, neither praise or glory or reward or recognition or any of that. Because you're retaining the gift once you pull that kind of a stunt. To get paid, whether by barter or trade. Hey, I gave last week to the storehouse, you owe me extra. You get what you need, and what you want, you don't need anymore. There's no reason to hoard. Because when you come into need that is diminished, you just put in a request for more. You got a sneeze coming. And if you want something, whatever it is that will contribute to the storehouse, you get it. So if you like making clothes, you get whatever you need, whether it's a sewing machine. And in that particular case, we have robotic technology and automation machinery that all you have to do is be the one to make sure they're operating. And you can do mass production real quick and easy without getting carpal tunnel that the church forces the women in the beehive clothing slave market to get tortured with. I've seen it. The one that makes the aprons, for example, it's all automated. They have a computer program that has the specific design programmed into the machine, and then the sewing needle does its thing when you put the apron in there. It does the pattern of the leaves all by itself because of the programming that's in it. No woman has to get carpal tunnel by doing the actual sewing, like for the garments, sewing on the marks. All that can be done automatically, just like that other machine for the apron. But church needs slaves, and that's a woman's work, etc., etc. Evil and abuse. And so there is no need for a monetary system of economy. But the laborer in Zion shall labor for Zion. If they labor for money, they shall perish. That's why America is about to fall. Big corporations are pushing the monetary economy for their profit margin. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a corporation, not a religion, and thus they are exploiting members to pay the corporation to make them rich. Priestcraft. Harold, no, he's the one that says that the church is going to wind down and dissolve and abandon the Mormons. Heber J. Grant, 1923, November 26, makes the corporation official and says that the members of the church will be the ones to pay the corporation to make them rich. Moo. Cash cows. And so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the corporation, is laboring for money. And it shall fall. And great shall be the fall thereof. Because they're practicing priestcraft, they're using money for their economy. It will fall. Zion is not allowed to have an economy. Anybody practicing economy is working against Zion and as an underground economy to sabotage and destroy it. And thus have to be kicked out of Zion because they want no part of Zion. If you're trying to destroy Zion, you don't want to be a part of Zion because you're trying to ruin it for everybody else. Bye-bye. Go away. And so, now we move on to needs and wants. And it section 42 or section 51. I mean, all of these talk about it, but so talking about the storehouse is to administer to the poor and the needy. Huh. Well, how did I know that? Tithing for the storehouse is for the poor and the needy? Is it? Not in this church. See how the church is robbing God, claiming Malachi and not following Malachi. And so they're indicating here, it shall be appointed by the high council of the church and the bishop and his council. And they don't mention the stake president over the high council. That was a later development. And so, yeah, the stake president is in charge of the stake, and the bishop in charge of the wards. This is how the exodus to Zion is to play a part. To find out who wants to go to Zion, and using the structure that's still in implementation, now using it for God's will, for the building up of Zion. After the fall of the great and abominable church and the Exodus, they're a part of the Exodus. These are the groups that will come to Zion. And all indicators are supposed to be starting Thursday. So I'm a little stressed. And so, yeah, this is how it would be. But this takes time. There has to be notification given out through all the world. And the stake presidents and bishops are all supposed to organize it to find out who's coming to Zion and make sure that their wants and needs are taken care of to come to Zion. With some exceptions, you can't smuggle money to start an underground economy. Go back. You don't want to go to Zion. No monetary system of economy. And so in 51, let the bishop appoint a storehouse unto his church. Let all things both in money and in meat, because Joseph Smith is trying to work with the economy, but the money is specifically for the storehouse, for the poor and the afflicted and the elderly and the widows and the orphans. But the bishop isn't supposed to be in charge of it. He's not supposed to be a bagman for a criminal operation, or the deacons break your kneecaps if you don't pay. They want their $2. And so, likewise, once we get to Zion, there would be tent camps of the various wards and stakes until the storehouse gets built, and then it gets filled, and then the mountain cities of Zion and New Jerusalem would then get built. And it's all planned and organized, written out. We just have to wait for the fall of the church and the transfer of authority. And so this is where we then get to this transfer of authority with the fall of the great and abominable church. Now, Remember Deuteronomy 19 of those who are false accusers. Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are Jewish. They're not Christian. Christianity is a false accuser of the Jews. Thus, Christianity is the one guilty. Brigham Young, with his Christianizing of Joseph and the Book of Mormon, are, again, as a false witness. So Brigham Young is the one guilty. He is to be punished. And it's already all set out in all of prophecy for this big event. To the Jewish Christ of Mormons, who will have the keys of Moses, Deuteronomy 18 in the previous chapter, who will have the keys of the Exodus. And if you haven't figured it out by now, yeah, it's me. If you've not been following, this is your very first video, welcome. YouTube finally allowed you to see this video, huh? Yeah, notice I'm not Jesus. I don't have magical powers. But I've got the fruit to show for it. 2020, that was my big year. Mormons missed it. Oaks then came out and said, that was just a test run for Jesus. This year, they're going through with it. They are the false accusers. They are the enemy. They are led by Lucifer, both spiritually and literally. Baby name meaning Russell Marion, which is Mars, red star of the sea. Mars is married to Venus. Venus's symbol is the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. So thus the female is the church bride of the Christ. From Ephesians. So this is Lucifer though. So it's the church of Lucifer, therefore Lucifer is Mars. There it is in the Book of Mormon. Amazing. So, Joseph Fielding Smith is referring to Danite claims that Heber C. Kimball had taught him after Heber C. Kimball was the one who paid the Judas price to have his father murdered in Carthage jail. And so Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. is kind of clueless here. This is sad. He thinks that this is what Joseph Smith and Hiram were teaching, unaware that he's become a Danite, the enemy of mankind, who are going to coup the government in the same manner that they couped Joseph Smith and had election fraud and the Danite War and the Extermination Order, all there in 1838. And so he believes this is actual Jesus and Lucifer, which if he were to actually edit this, he'd go, wait a minute. Is Jesus really gonna confront the President of the United States, but I'm calling him Lucifer? Huh? No, this is election fraud they're talking about here. There will be a transfer of government authority at the priesthood meeting at Adam-on-Diamond. We've all heard the myths. We all know about it. But yet nobody understands it, because the church would never release the original documents and reveal who they were from, thus perpetuating the myth and Mormon speculation. as to what's going to happen and how. But he tells us specifically, directly, from the mouth of Heber C. Kimball and Brigham Young, there will be a transfer of government authority. Go. Because that's not how the United States is going to work, let alone Russia, China, North Korea, Saudi Arabia. Seriously? Maybe France, maybe Canada. Oh, okay, here you go. Hey? They're at war with India or Iran. Man, I'm getting confused now. But anyway, no, this is what he's saying. From Lucifer to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ Lucifer is not the leader of governments. We have President Biden right now, Macron, Putin, Xi, Mohammed bin Salman, Netanyahu. Did you catch Nelson when he said Jesus is coming and then said he's going to rule over Jerusalem and somewhere in America? He means Utah. He put it in his own words, and yet would not say the place. And so obviously Lucifer is not the one handing over the keys of the United States of America, France, Germany, Russia, China, Japan, South Korea, North Korea, etc., etc., etc. This is the Danites. This is a coup. He's revealing that this church is going to coup America and the world governments. That's why it's vital to understand what I'm talking about when I do my church news videos. All that the church does is based on this one and only one mission. This is why they hoard money. The whistleblower came out and confessed it. We were told that we are hoarding money for Armageddon, or the second coming of Jesus. That's the mission of the church. The coup. It has nothing to do with gospel. It's about converting people to the church so that you now are a cash cow to the church to pay them the money, to make them rich. Because you weren't doing it well enough, and as the members of the church were abandoning the church in massive millions of people, then they started doing business with terrorist nations. In a major city yet to be determined in Russia, Shanghai, and Islamic government and religious leaders, all to cause the coup. Oakes came out and confessed this coup. We got to come back to this. Okay, so we'll do that next. So in response to the whistleblower, Nelson came out with the first presidency statement on church finances. He said, get over it. What are you going to do about it? We're doing what was taught in the parable of talents. Well, We all know Nelson's record on inability to decipher and interpret scripture accurately. So all of you know that it's Matthew 25, right? Right? After the 10 virgins, remember? Isn't that section 132, Travis? Yes, that too. That's the altered version of the 10 virgins. That too is in the coming days, according to Bruce R. McConkie. In the millennium, virgins, polygamy restored because of Jesus. It's all tied together here. So verse 14, after some dumbass Christian wrote in, "Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh." He just gave it to you. Let's see if we can not be cyber terrorized. From Oliver's and Company. In general, the olive harvest, remember it's the olive oil in their lamps, and the reserve olive oil they were supposed to have. The olive harvest takes place between October and February. But it all depends on the time of year when the fruit ripens. Thus, the day and the hour. October. For the gathering, for the wedding supper feast, and tabernacles. So yeah, I guess we do need to cover this because this is tabernacles. Breaking news. Then we'll just go right into the talents. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgin weather girls, who are getting murdered for being prophetesses and revelatoresses, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom, to Zion. Remember, the bishops are the ones who are the wagon troops to come to Zion. Those 10 virgins are the Mormons who choose to go. You're not forced to. Don't think just because the church fell that you have to go to Zion. No layman and Millennials allowed this time. You want to stay back with your money? Fine. 5 of them are wise, 5 were foolish. And Oakes correctly said this is not a 50-50 percentile. That only 50% of Mormons are righteous, because the actual foolish virgins are upwards of around 15 million. That's quite a high percentage. It's almost like 1/5, isn't it? Somewhere around that percentage. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. It's October. Here it is, the 15th of October, when the 17th is starting of the Feast of Tabernacles. And the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. They are bringing to fill the storehouses of Zion. When the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. I'm right here. Does this mean I'm going to be delayed? Dear God. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose. You've already seen the picture. The cherry goddess. And trimmed their lamps. And the foolish Mormons said unto the wise Mormons who were going to Zion, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. They didn't want to go to Zion. Our substance is for the storehouses in Zion. You don't want to go. You're staying here. We can't help you. And so they're then told to go to the marketplace and get oil for themselves before they can come. But too late. The day that shall burn as an oven came, and you are denied in Zion. Because you're dead. You're a zombie apocalyptic person. Zombie. And so he says, I know you not. You're not on the list. Bishops have a list of who's coming. You have to be on the list. Bishops are going to provide a list of those who chose to come to Zion. If there's any along the way on the roadside, another parable reference, he needs to notify in advance, we're picking up some other people who want to come help Zion. Great. So when you arrive at Zion, you're at the command center, and the bishop says, I'm from this ward, here's the list, and it's checked with the list that he provided before leaving to make sure that everybody is accounted for. No spies in Zion to destroy Zion, like the art of war, which is being done in America by Islam, by China, by Russia. Dear God, everybody's attacking America, even Americans. And will not be allowed in Zion. Okay, so this, no man knows the day or the hour, October 15th in the Jewish calendar, which is Thursday, the 17th. That's the start of it. Christians. All right, and so then we get into the parable of the talents. For the kingdom of heaven, Zion, is as a man traveling into a far country. Yeah, America is a far country from Jerusalem. Who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. This is the missionaries who are supposed to go out and get those who want to come to Zion. So Joseph Smith is this man in the beginning. But his second coming is actually the coming of the latter-day Christ. Because Joseph is dead, he's not coming back as a zombie. All you Mormons who speculate. Jesus is going to be resurrected and he'll be the man like Moses, the one mighty and strong. He'll lead us to Zion in life evermore. And so they go out into the world marketplace, and the one who had 5 increased it, had another 5. One who had 2 had 2 more. And so all is well in Zion for them. The other one, who had 1, didn't do any missionary work. Sat on his couch and watched the end of the world on his little TikTok phone from China, telling them that Israel is the enemy. Needs a Holocaust to stop them. You're a fence sitter. You're not contributing to Zion. You're not contributing to the storehouse. The storehouse is the same thing as converts to Zion. They're simpatico. And so that one is a son of perdition because he has no interest in the welfare of Zion. He is milking the system, hoping that he'll be able to get into the kingdom without contributing to the storehouse. He's going to milk the system. He's not poor, he's not elderly, he's not widowed, he's not a child orphaned, not disabled physically. This should heal the mental, emotional problems that psychologists are causing in you right now, as you will be free from the bullying abuse of psychologists and the bullies who were educated by the psychologists to bully you to get counseling for your bullying that was taught to them by the psychologists. And so the reply to this slothful person who's going to outer darkness, everlasting fire, the day that shall burn as an oven, is told, I was hungered and you didn't give me meat. Wait a minute. That's for the one who had 2. Okay. Oh, that's the other one. It scrolled down too far. Oh my hell. But yeah, it continues on with that same thing, that you are supposed to use Zion and the storehouse to take care of the sick and free those who are wrongfully imprisoned, and those who are hungry, thirsty, and those who are strangers who want to live in Zion. So yes, those who are ex-foes, yes, you can come now. And your bishops will not extort you with Section 119. They won't get graphically detailed about what kind of sex perversions you're into, that you have no clue what they are, and wants to role play with you. No, none of that. This is to go to Zion. They are not going to have control over you. They're just the shepherds leading the flock to Zion, away from the wolves. It's all they do. Once you get to Zion, you are now all equal. There is no leadership over you. You are free. And as long as you can contribute to Zion, have fun. Peace, safety, refuge. So the structure is only to get you to Zion and to get it set up and built. But once it's built, that's it. No longer needed. They can do their own thing to contribute to Zion. And so, unprofitable servants into outer darkness. There shall be weeping, sensitive snowflakes, and sarcasm of gnashing of teeth. And so, verse 31 is the coming to Zion. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, the saints. Then he shall sit upon the throne of his glory. Yeah, his house. He gets a house too. And then there's the separation of the sheep from the goats. See how all of this is now playing a part with Zion? See how the church leaders botched this? And so you're supposed to clothe the naked, visit the sick, not just visit them, you actually got to try to heal them. Feed the hungry. Does no good to visit the hungry. Oh, wow, that's tough that you're hungry. Yeah, oh, I gotta go, it's my lunchtime. See ya. GOP Jesus. Dear God, that's abominable. Alright, so now we can go to Oaks. So that's the parable of the talents. That the leaders of the church are the ones who transfer authority to the rightful Christ. And their false accusation is that it's government authority. That it belongs to the church and they're going to rule over America and the world. And that all the money is to be transferred to them. No. They already set it up to destroy the world. And so Mormons are the ones being falsely accused. They're being robbed. And so, thus, Deuteronomy 19 kicks in. The transfer of authority is to the Christ. Just like in the parable of the talents. They already set the conditions for the punishment. The church is supposed to lose its authority to be transferred to Zion. The money is to be transferred to Zion, those who want to go, so that we can build it, and then it will be self-sufficient, self-sustaining, no more money needed. So it's a good thing they've been hoarding the trillions of dollars, because it needs to be handed over. Let my Mormons go. Okay, so now let's find Oaks confessing that he was part of the coup with the transition. So, speaking to the missionaries in Las Vegas, Nevada, 14th of March, 2020, a little sister missionary was a naughty girl and recorded his talk. He doesn't like it when you record him. He gets angry. You don't like him when he's angry. And so Oaks says, this is not the end of the world. March 14th? He hasn't even made the announcement that conference will not have anybody in attendance. State of Utah hadn't even shut down yet. The election hadn't occurred yet. I served the church, though, on February 24th. I did my part. But the parting of the waters had not yet happened. That was soon to come that summer. Just hilarious. That sounds like this is done. Okay. Come back to that. And so, yeah, there was a lot of other stuff. I've shown you the picture, connecting it to section 107, verses 91 and 92. It's the keys of Moses. What I did in 2020 demonstrates, without question, I'm the man like Moses. Because what I did was exactly like the story of Moses. Very obvious. And I have gone over with the others from 92 that I have those fruits. Seer, revelator, prophet, translator. Not these guys. They come out and say, we don't have the power, we deny the power. We are never going to prophesy, we are never going to reveal. We don't even claim translator. Nope, we're not going to do it. But you better obey us because we're the titles. I have the fruit. You can judge me. You're supposed to judge me. You're supposed to judge them. You're not doing it. You get conned when you don't judge people. You can't use false judgment. Got to judge them by their fruits. You know, if a person's committing adultery, you actually have to see her committing adultery. And I'm sure there's probably lots of people who upload those videos onto some porn site that are banned in Utah. So sad. But yeah, all of the economic problems result in further problems. Ruined marriages, because the wife is forced by the church to stay home barefoot and pregnant, and the guy is expected to be able to care for her. And her daddy was able to do so because he was before Reagan economics that ruined our economy. And so she expects her husband to take care of her just like daddy took care of her. But he was told in high school that thanks to Reagan economics, you're never going to own your own home. Your education will be a waste of time in college. You still have to end up flipping burgers at 4 different fast food restaurants in order to pay for a single apartment. And thus forcing the woman that you marry to also have to work so that you can have more money coming in, so that you can save maybe for 10 years or 20 years until you can finally have one kid. But the interest rate will go up so that you'll never be able to save the money to have a kid. This is America. And it will fall because of this monetary corruption. And so he says, this was just a test. It hadn't happened yet. He's saying what is about to happen here in 2020 is just a test, a trial run for the second coming. He's confessing. He's in charge of this. He's the mastermind. He owns the world. All governments bow to him. He purposely set it up and caused every contention, arguing, fighting, murders, rapes, plunderings, conspiracies. He's the mastermind of it. Nelson's just a showpiece. All of them, they have to all agree in order to have anything go forward. And so yes, the second coming is the day that shall burn as an oven, and their understanding. It's well established in this church. Well established by Christianity. Not well established by the Jews, because it's not literal history, it's prophecy. Revelation. And so yes, he then goes on to say, there's a reason why we've destroyed this church. Hinge pointed. I caught that. In his second coming talk, he says, this hinge point of history when Jesus comes. And so when they had that conference where they're saying, we're hinge pointing, and then he gets rid of home teaching, gets rid of the high priests, demotes them down into the elders' quorum. I did all these videos, warned you. They're abandoning you. The home-centered church, taking away an hour from church. Yeah, he turned Sundays into family home evening. And yet Mormons still aren't doing it. They got an extra hour to watch TV when they get home, or on their cell phones, social media videos. Well, they're faith promoting. It's about how the church is true, except for this Travis guy. He's an anti-Mormon, anti-Christ goer. I put a thumbs down and I sent him a death threat. He lied about emergency preparedness. They didn't talk about that. That was not Nelson. Not at all, indeed. Well. And so, yeah, they never announced to the church to have a year's supply. Not in that April conference, which would be too late, because we're all stuck at home at that time. But not in the October conference. Aren't they prophets? Oh, they're not? Exactly. I warned you. Nobody listened to me, and many of my subscribers are literally ghost subscribers now. Not just the ghost subscribers that YouTube's algorithms project I'm getting with the conference increase in views. So no, I don't give credibility to the number of subscribers. I'm pretty sure they're either fake stuff from the algorithm of YouTube or the people are dead. And I'm still hurt by that. They murdered you. They murdered your loved ones. They murdered your neighbors. They murdered your church members. They murdered the missionaries. I did the videos. YouTube attacked me. And they murdered you. Nelson is saying he's in charge of this. Oaks. They did it. They're responsible. They murdered you. And I had people who were regularly commenting, and I would comment back, who are now gone. And I remember one lady, concerned, her sister got it. And now she's gone. She was forwarding, sharing, whatever it's called, my videos on her Facebook channel. And she's gone. Others gone. And they murdered them. Let's find this year's calendar. So Joseph in 1823, I'll bring this one up first. September 22nd was on the third day of the Feast of Tabernacles, which starts this Thursday. So that second vision, warning of the day that shall burn as an oven, and Mormons must listen to their Jewish Christ, or they will be, precisely as it stands in our New Testament, utterly destroyed. You must get to Zion. You must hearken to him. The church must fall. The transfer must be made so that we can go to Zion. We can't go to Zion. Pharaoh keeps saying no. And so this concerns me that it's the third day of Tabernacles. But if on the first day of Tabernacles people then proceed, yes, the third day is when we all arrive. It'll take a 2-day journey, full day, 2 days, from Salt Lake. Extra day if you're west of us, or north or south of us, because you got to have that extra stuff to cut in. Those outside of the United States are in a more precarious position. We'd have to see if we can get permission to have our religious people come to Zion on a religious visa or something like that, because otherwise you can't come. You have to go through the immigration process. And there's kind of a controversy about that right here and right now. And so this is very interesting that Joseph Smith is letting us know about. And so the dreams that I had, the one specifically from Monson back in 2016 when I was in a tent. Tabernacle. Tent. Didn't know it at the time. I had Monson's boots. Remember Day of Atonement? No footwear. You're wicked. I have Monson's boots. I take them to him. Say, hey, you want your boots back? He just kept walking. So I took them back to the tent. Authority. Transferred. The Hinckley dream. Prior to, when I was first incarcerated in the concentration camp here in Utah. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's a violation of the United States laws. I get Hinckley's key card to his office with the number 77 on it. This is 177 years from Brigham Young's Exodus. This is also 180 years, Tree of Life, Gematria, Jewish Kabbalah, from Joseph Smith's death. This is the last year of the latter days. Gone over all this with you. We're supposed to be starting the millennium now. The Curse of Joseph Smith. Still waiting to do that video. Still waiting. Fall of the Great and Abominable Church. And so, then Irene's dream, my dream about Irene, on 9/11 at 3 in the morning. Woke me up early, 1 hour early. And the number 15 doubled in that dream. I did the video that morning. Didn't quite understand it when I did the video. Now I know. Passover, start of the religious new year, is on the 15th of the first month. The 15th of the first month of the civil new year is Tabernacles. They're both Exoduses. There's some slight differences. Elijah for Passover, and then the angels. 2 sets of 7. 77 for Tabernacles. There's also a group of men, group of women, 7, Tabernacles, 77. Very well aware of what's going on. My mom would die, 77 years old, on 12/21/21. 3 sets of 7. Very well aware. But still have to wait for the fall. The transfer of authority must be made. We cannot go until then. So that's why I'm worried. Mormons failed their judgment. But because Mormons are at the lower rung, they're held to a lesser law. Those at the top, the leaders, the ones who are saying, no, we will not let Mormons go, outer darkness. To stay behind for the day that shall burn as an oven. For Bloodbath 2024. You choose how America gets cooed. Although the news is saying that it's already escalating. We may not last too much longer. So yeah, I did mention that on Thursday the rain begins. That's to remind you of the windows of heaven, Mormons. That you aren't thinking in terms of the learning of the Jews. You're thinking Christians. You're waiting for Jesus. You're left wanting. You're having to make things up. And the church is already putting conference as a distant memory. Conference? What conference? Did Nelson say that? No, you misinterpreted him. Is that the right picture? It is slightly adjusted because the Way to Perfection clip, it was awkward. It would actually fit the whole length of the picture. So I did it on top of Nelson, Oaks, and Iron. And Jesus, idol god, wearing his underwear. It's a symbol of your bondage. Okay, so I think we're done. This is what we're waiting for. And you need to be scared, Mormons, that despite the sign of rain for the start of tabernacles, the windows of heaven for the storehouse in Zion is given, if it does not happen, it means you've failed your judgment and you will be utterly destroyed. And so only a few of us who are listening at this point, sorry there weren't enough people to go to Zion. Hope you can survive, because it's going to get ugly. The Book of Mormon warns you how ugly it's going to get. They've been warning you. They're saying bloodbath. The deep state Dem press, they don't understand Trump. It's like they keep forgetting. They know if they just read his books. They'd know if they listen to all of it and have a reference of all of his talks, of everything he says. If they remembered when he talked with Chris Matthews in the interview in 2016, he said, women who get an abortion should be locked up in prison. And so he puts federal judges on through the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints' recommendations, and overturn Roe v. Wade. And so now states of MAGA are locking up women trying to get an abortion, threatening them to not leave the state, locking up doctors who perform abortions. This is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Taking away your agency, violating the 14th Amendment, Section 1. Babies who are born get rights, not fetus, embryo, or sperm. And yet, they're so obsessed with forcing women to have the rape baby, or the baby that's going to kill them, because there's medical complications, that they're in denial that every time that they unload, they're slaughtering a whole bunch of sperm. Should we look that up again? It's been a while. We're at an hour and 30 minutes, aren't we? Because of the cyber terrorist attack. So it was only the two, I guess. Each ejaculation contains 80 to 300 million sperm cells. Each ejaculation. Now, if you say one per day, I don't think we can do the math on this. $300 million times 365, that's 1 year. Now, do 60 times 60. That's how much men slaughter in their lifetime. And it's these men who are threatening women That's a different number that, oh my God. MedicinePlus.gov says a different number. 20 to 150 million. It's AI. Oh, God. Unbelievable. You cannot trust AI. They over-exaggerate the fish that gets caught. But still, dear God, that's a lot. And the in vitros, yeah, they're attacking that now too. Everything sexual is under attack. This isn't to protect life. This is to murder women. Do not be fooled by this. Because once the woman has that baby that she's forced to have as a single mother, guess what they do to them? You're a whore. You need to get a job. You need to give up that baby for human trafficking. I mean adoption. To good parents who are rich and white and can take care of them. And then you get destroyed as a woman, raped, forced to have the rape baby. Because it's a similitude of Mary, the mother of Jesus. And it's a dove that raped you if you're Christian. It's your father who raped you if you're a Mormon. Why are you falling for this, guys? Why are you joining the anarchists who want to murder you? Who want to destroy America, destroy your rights to life, liberty, and property? Why would you let them rule over you? I mean, avenging angels. Okay, I think we're done. So that's what we're waiting for. And so yes, with this extra sign in the heavens for you, the signs on earth technically, the windows of heaven, that's what it's all about. To be on the first day of the Feast of Tabernacles, tents, Sukkot, Exodus, to Zion. I mean, yeah, it was amazing as back on 9th Ave, the 9/11 of the Jews, where Elijah flooded the altar of Utah. And then on 9/11, fire on the altar from a lightning bolt out there in Thule. It's right there for you, Mormons. And you're missing it because you insist it has to be Christian with Jesus. You are blinded. And that blindness is going to murder you by this church. And all you had to do was trust in the cherry goddess. It's so cute. Travis went good, so now we can get to the weather girl forecasting for Thursday, the start of the Exodus for Mormons. And I've already covered this numerous times, but again we get to repeat it because there's further confirmation of it. Mormons don't believe, so they don't see it. They deny and lie. Anarchy, Mormonism. So last night, after I did my special video about the, again, further signs as if you're not going to believe your scripture. Oh man, I am getting attacked. Son of a